In today's video, I'd like to share with you my routine of self-reflection. And I gotta say, today is not the day that I want to be recording. And at the same time, I realized that is exactly the day when I need to record or not record, but more like sharing with you the processes and my journey, because that's exactly the pattern that I used to have. Whenever I don't feel like doing something, I would not leaning into my protocol or into my structure that I know to follow. So saying that, it is that skill of self-awareness that I have developed through self-reflection that helps me consistently see the patterns that are running me and improve it. You know, one of my favorite performance coaches, Todd Herman, talks about reviewing the game film, such as looking back at your performance and seeing where improvement can be made so that the improvement can be seen in the results. And so with that said, I really found self-reflection has been the hardest skill for me, which I have been cultivating in the last 3 to 4 years. Specifically, it started for me from when, again, I felt stuck and I went and decided to qualify as a health coach, because I knew that I was consistently hitting the ceiling, but I couldn't see what was that ceiling. And instead of pushing forward in business, I decided to take a break and go and do something different, such as qualifying as a holistic health coach. And as I was going through the program, one of the key skills there was self-awareness. You know, I usually would say, before I qualified as a coach, somebody is not self-aware enough, but often now on reflection, I know that I actually wasn't present to what I was saying because I was not self-aware enough. And self-awareness actually has been the key skill that prevented me from moving forward faster in business, in my personal relationships. So I have been cultivating it through self-reflection on a daily basis, really, regardless of what has been going on. I consistently have a certain routine, and let me just share it with you, really. So I use Evernote, and within Evernote I have a template. If you don't know what Evernote is, it's just check it out, evernote.com, and I will leave the link below. Evernote is really I look at it as my external brain, because it helps me to use a tool. You don't necessarily need to use any tool. You can write it on paper, which I did initially as well. But it helped me to see what I was writing so that I could see my patterns, so that I could optimize them in a way that would be helpful for me to get to the next level growth or to the next level of results. So if you are just starting with your self-reflection, I would say experiment all the options, and that's how I look at it as well, and that's how I actually do anything initially, just like this, like learning to be invisible, learning to speak up. I decided to do in the next 3 months, I'm just gonna share from the heart. I'm just gonna record the videos. I'm not gonna have scripts. I'm just gonna record from my experience, though I like to be more structured. I like to sound more smarter than some of the videos I perceive come across, but I decided initially I'm gonna go all in and I'm just gonna try it out and see what kind of style of visibility, such as what kind of style of recording YouTube videos I will actually enjoy, or what kind of style I need right now. So, and that's very much the same with self-reflection. When I started, I initially wrote in the notebooks, then I wrote it in Evernote, and then I tried it I've tried it on my iPad. So, and I actually have all of those three spaces. I have tons of notebooks that I've written through. I have lots of notes in my Evernote, and I have lots of notes in my iPad as well. But that process, when I stopped making me wrong, that I need to be structured, that I need to have a process that works, but just let it go and said, you know what, I'm just going to experiment. I'm just going to try it out, do what works at the moment. And initially, when I started writing because writing, and I know it from, I remember when I was learning French, and my French teacher told me that, you know, when you write, there is a connection with your brain, and you just remember better. And so I started writing because I found it was the easiest way for me to access whatever I had in my brain. And what I had in my brain, it was not pretty. And so I started writing in the notebook, and I asked my husband not to read it because there were a lot of like emotions that needed to come out, a lot of anger, a lot of all the things. I call it a lot of trash that accumulated there over the years of experiences, over whatever I was exposed to, whether that's culture, whether society, or experience overall. So I was just writing, and often whenever I would start writing, my head would just go, and like I could feel that there was so much that wanted to get out. So I just did it for about, I think, from about half a year. I was doing at that time. I was in Cyprus, and every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, I would go to the sea, and I would take the notebook and just write it, whatever comes to mind. And I never read it actually. The after, I'm a little bit scared to see in what kind of mind I was at that time, but you know, it helped. It moved me to the next level when those emotions came out. And as I was writing them, I could see certain things that were triggering me, or certain emotions that weren't expressed there. And so as I moved through that period of emotional avalanche, I then felt like I have more space in my head, and now I can bring a little bit more structure. Then I started experimenting with my iPad, and just every morning when I would wake up, I would open a note there and just write it there. That worked for me for a little while, and at a later stage I actually decided, you know what, I want to have that path in one place, because that's something that I want to share with you. That's something I want to share with my clients, not the notes itself, but the process, the reflections, the insights. And also, as I now have like a year's worth of notes in one place, I often go back to that to really see the patterns, to look at how was I thinking and where it led me to. And it brings back that, not brings back, but helps me to be more self-aware, and helps me discover my tendencies, so that I can then put it into new algorithms. Actually, that is the outcome of my self-reflection. Once I reflect on it, I then use ChatGPT and ask it to analyze it in terms of giving it the right prompt and asking it to analyze it from psychological perspective. Where am I in my journey, so that I could see the patterns. And then I ask it to write certain, or the algorithms that running me, and then help me rewrite those algorithms, and those algorithms become my new way of operating. I take those algorithms, and whenever I feel like today I don't want to record a video. I have an algorithm for that. When I don't feel like recording a video, I acknowledge the emotion and I lean into my commitment, which was recording videos every day. So that's that. And then now a new novelty that I've discovered recently through being part of health coaching community, I've discovered an app which helps me actually to put my reflections into that app, and it looks at different aspects what is going on for me from psychological perspective, but it also brings in different wisdoms from different cultures, which I absolutely love, from Japanese, Chinese, to Jewish, to like all of that wisdom that then I can soak from, because I love the diversity of, I just love the beauty of different cultures and different wisdoms that are inbuilt in different cultures. So, and that app I will also share with you below. If you want to know a little bit more of how I use it, please just comment below and I'll share it with you. But in a nutshell, to summarize this video, is the key for your performance in life, in business, at work, is self-awareness. To develop self-awareness, it's important to look back and analyze the situations, and the tool for that is self-reflection. And only then if you're just starting, you can look at a variety of different ways of reflecting until you narrow down the ones that work for you. You can go from paper note or to Evernote or online digital, note taking. And from there on, create it as a process that works for you for where you are. Look at it with curiosity to see what algorithms are running you, and so that you can rewrite those algorithms and really get to embody the new way of being, which is actually the intention of self-reflection anyway, to be a certain person you aspire to be.